Hi, let's talk about Detective Comics starring Batman. This is issue number 529 in August of 1983. And this is the era that I was first introduced to the comic book version of Batman, which is the original, of course. Batman was on TV all the time, and I love Batman. And I would see Batman, graphics on things like that, but this is the first time I was introduced to Batman. Now, not with this comic, but with Detective Comics number 530, with a great cover by Gene Colan, with a character called Nocturna. But we'll get to all of that. This is the beginning of that whole story, this weird sort of era of Doug Mensch and Gene Colan. Not many people talk about this, but I'd like to talk about it. So we'll start with this first installment of this story with the Thief of Night and Nocturna, which is a villain that no one cares about, and I think they've sort of retooled her for Batwoman and all that stuff, like the TV show. So here's the cover: in pursuit of the most elusive foe of all, the Thief of Night. And here's a wonderful Batman swinging down with red skies. And here's a classic ad from the era: Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This thing, I would study it all the time. I didn't know if that thing on the side of the mouth was also an eye. I know the thing up top is an eye for that dragon. And this is for an Intellivision cartridge. My dad had an Intellivision. I still have it. I can't hook it up to any TV anymore. So here's wonderful Gene Colan art. Very moody, very atmospheric. These are all characters that are working the late shift. And here we go, the Thief of Night with that classic Batman logo. Back then, they just said created by Bob Kane. No Bill Finger, but Bill Finger was known at the time to probably have created all the stuff that you know of Batman, but in 1983, it wasn't acknowledged by DC Comics. And here is the Thief of Night staking out his prey here. And here we have the credits. It's written by Doug Mensch. The artist is Gene Colan. The inker is Dick Giordano. And Ben Oda is letterer. Adrian Roy is colorist. And Len Wein is the editor. I love Gene Colan's art. I think he's a great Batman artist. The thing about Gene Colan was that he was very atmospheric, very moody. There's a lot of great lighting and striking design work with just angles and things. And here's Batman trying to foil this crime here. And so the Thief of Night, who's a new character stalking Gotham, he's a thief. And here comes Batman with his batarang. And the Thief of Night is giving him quite a good fight here. And here's a classic Star Frontiers commercial. This was a TSR game. This was I feel like for a good 3-4 years in the 1980s, this was in every DC comic, it seemed. So the Thief of Night is still fighting Batman and threatens the Night Guard here. And so Batman rescues the Night Guard, and Thief of Night escapes. And so Batman has to take this innocent person to the hospital. But when he's there, he admits to the hospital staff that the thief he was fighting got away. So that's gonna dog him now. And everyone's gonna say, oh, I know Batman failed. I don't know why he admitted that. It's so stupid. But, it's kind of the crux of the story now going forward. The Wayne Foundation design was always ridiculous. It's the most cartoony thing of the Batman stories at the time. They're supposed to be all gritty and realistic, but, then you have this, tree growing in the middle of a big window in the a big hollow place in the building. So where does everyone work? It's so weird. So here's Lucius Fox in a business meeting, and they're talking about this one lady who works for an arm of the Wayne Foundation. She was like observing the stars through a giant telescope, and um, over time, she has become sort of like an albino. They don't say that, but basically, she's sensitive to light, and all of the pigmentation in her skin is gone, so she's like chalk white. And Lucius Fox is like, oh well, she might be eligible for some compensation. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne is still brooding about his defeat at the hands of the Thief of Night. I love the detailing of the faces here. So at this point, he has Jason Todd as his ward, and so Jason Todd is running off with a circus kid who always dresses as a clown, and this clown is kind of a bad influence on him, but it's sort of weird, and this factors into things later on. But again, the detailing of the faces, the brooding shadows, I love it. Here's a classic Hubba Bubba commercial that appeared in a lot of comic books at the time. Back then, as a dumb kid, I'd be like, what do these things say? So this one is soft. The second one is smooth. The next one is juicy. The next one is yummy. The next one is pink. And I think that's bubbles. And I can't remember what they all spell out at the end here, but I won't lose sleep over it. Pink lemonade. That's quite the flavor. I don't think that's around anymore. Strawberry, wild cherry, grape, regular, and tropical punch. Yeah. I don't know if Bubble Yum is a thing anymore. I said Hubba Bubba because that's basically interchangeable to me. Hubba Bubba is the brand that has existed to today. So there's someone circling these addresses here, and it's probably the Thief of Night. And so Bruce Wayne is on a date with Vicky Vale, and they're going to go to her place or something like that, and he wants to stop by and get some champagne. So he's buying champagne, and then on the news, it's there's a message from the Thief of Night, and the guy on the radio is like, and here's a message: the Thief of Night will strike again. And the DJ's like, so if you're listening to WGLJ, Bat Baby, the man says the caper will be a real sparkler. And if you plan to attend, elegance definitely counts. So now the Batman's called out. And so Bruce Wayne then runs off. He doesn't even buy the champagne and leaves Vicky Vale in the car and changes into Batman. And here's a great little shot of Batman in brooding light casting a shadow as he's changing. And so he uses his Batarang. And I love all the different angles here. There's usually bottom up type of views, like this first panel to the left. And all this brooding shadow stuff. I love it. So here he's chasing the Thief of Night. Thief of Night is going to this mansion here. And the Thief of Night is going to steal something from the vault. It's known that this person who owns this mansion is out of town. And so I guess there's no wait staff in there while that happens. I don't know. But Batman is, checking out the place with his eternally lively cape that's always blowing in the wind. And so Batman and the Thief of Night tussle. And once again, Thief of Night bests Batman and almost throws him off the roof. And he's like, I'm a living shadow. Only she can truly know or touch. To you, I am merely the absence of light. So he's speaking in riddles, and we don't really know what the Thief of Night is all about right now. And so Batman figures out, okay, listen, I gotta catch this guy. So he goes to where the vault is, and the Thief of Night has already stolen his thing, and is gone. There's a shadow there, and we're not really sure if the Thief of Night has powers or not. But he appears behind Batman and says, I am back here, Batman, already returned to the embrace of my mistress, the night. And so he's like, farewell, and he escapes, and Batman is defeated once again. And so the Thief of Night returns to his mistress and takes off his mask, and it's like some hippie dude. And his name is Anton. He offers this necklace to his mistress here. I do it for you, Nocturno. So that woman is Nocturno. You don't get to see her just yet, just her hand. So 3 hours later, he returns, like Bruce Wayne returns to Vicky Vale, and she's mad. So she walks off. And Jason Todd comes, and he's like, here you are, Bruce, been looking for you. And so Bruce Wayne's like, make a quick J, will you? I'm trying to think. So he's brushing off Jason Todd, and Jason Todd's like, okay, well, I'll make it quick. I decided that if you won't let me be the Batman's new partner, I might as well go back to the circus with Waldo. So he hasn't committed to him being the new Robin. And it says here in Batman 363, Nocturna and the Thief of Night, on sale June 9th. Here's the letters page at the time. Detective comments. And here's an awesome Warlord Remco commercial. Cross swords with champions. Enter the lost world of the Warlord. This is awesome stuff. Look at this. Arak. You've got Hercules. So that's from, I think it was Hercules Unbound. Which was a comic it was a DC comic as well, where he's in a post-apocalyptic World War III, post-World War III environment. But yeah, this is the other DC Comics toy line, aside from Superpowers, where they had all these fantasy characters that they teamed up, that didn't really team up in the DC Comics themselves. But we're here in this Remco toy line. Pretty cool. Here's more letters page. And a coming comics section with All-Star Squadron, Arian, Lord of Atlantis, Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew, and the adventures of Superboy. And here's a Green Arrow backup tale. I remember Green Arrow being backup tales in Detective Comics. So these were always a lot of fun because they were just action-packed. I mean, it's just a few pages, right? So they have to be quick about it. This is written by Joey Cavalieri. Paris Cullens is the penciler, and Frank Giacoa is inker. Adam Kubert is letterer. Nancy Houlihan is a colorist, and Len Wein is the editor. And so there's this punk kid, and he has chemicals and stuff that he sprays on people. Oliver Queen has to defeat this guy. I love all the colors of these old comics. I know some of this is yellowed papers, but I do love when they have like a red background, for example. And here they talk about this terrorist organization creating different acids and liquids and stuff to fight the man. And here's a house ad for Batman and the Outsiders, Metamorpho, Halo, Katana, Black Lightning, Geoforce. Now they join the Dark Knight Detective to become the newest super team sensation. Yeah, a couple of these characters were new to comics with Batman and the Outsiders. So it's funny that they have like all these names called out. Two-Fisted First Issue by Mike W. Barr and Jim Aparo erupts everywhere May 19th. Be the first in your neighborhood to collect them all. The new DC, there's no stopping us now. And here's a Meanwhile, which is sort of their bullpen bulletins. So Green Arrow stalks this guy. He goes to this one dude in an arcade. And this guy likes to con people by, well, not con, but like play people for money with chess and backgammon and stuff like that. and he gives Oliver Queen some information, but he also bemoans the fact that Pac-Man is the new big thing, and there's kids playing Pac-Man all the time. And he's like, Pac-Man, why do they play a game that doesn't give them a fighting chance or a reward when they win? Like, he doesn't understand video games. And Oliver Queen's like, well, that's called life, James. Later, alligator. So Oliver Queen goes to First Avenue, which is a dump and a mess and on fire. And there's this dude blowing up buildings and stuff. And so he sprays Oliver Queen with a freezing liquid and some heat-seeking canisters of acid. And the heat-seeking canisters of acid chase Green Arrow, and he dodges them. And then he fights this dude. There's a lot of onomatopoeias. It's like, your spray cans aren't much use in a hot spot, kiddo. So he had a spray can of botulism. And so Green Arrow defeats him. The heat destroys the bacteria, and he wraps him up in a nice little like wrapping arrow thing. And that takes care of that. Here's another classic ad from back then, Create a Monster. And I remember these eyes looking down on these model kits. So it's the Wolfman, the Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein from Monogram. And here's a classic Tron commercial for the arcade, or at least a video game. And it's from Mattel Electronics for the Atari 2600. And that's it for this comic. I hope you enjoyed this walk down memory lane with this issue of Detective Comics. And if you like this video, please give a like to this video. It helps me out a lot. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. So until next time, take care.